Welcome to the live stream of Bout 3 of our individual our individual finals. I'm Greg Harries. I'm going to be your live stream host. We're drawing our names right now, so I'm going to put the audio down for a little bit. But in this bout, you are going to hear from poets from we've got Matt Miner from Scott, Shantavion Moore from Benson, Michaela Alberts from Omaha Northwest, Kira Cobbs from Omaha South, Leah Hagan from Westside High School, Kyla Jolch from Lincoln North Star, John Rath from Creighton Prep, and Brittany MacArthur from Avenue Scholars. At least those are the names I currently have. They are going to be looking to get in the top four. If they do, they'll be joining Haley, Nathan, Bianca, and Kayla from Bout 1. And Niara, Charlie, Vicky, and Amanda from Bout 2 in the finals. So yeah, they're going for it. Um, and we're just getting our judges and everything together. Poets are drawing their orders. I'm going to be coaching a student in this bout, so I'm going to be a little bit on and off the live stream, but I'll try and keep you updated with scores whenever I can, and commentary for the poets that are going up. So yeah, this is a great. It's been a great day so far. Some truly amazing poetry. If you're friends with me on Facebook, Greg Harries is the name. I posted a link to a poem from the last bout that is ridiculous. Um, Vicky from Norfolk showed up with a piece that I just love. I don't normally play favorites. There were a lot of amazing poems in that bout, but that one really knocked my socks off. So yeah, we're gonna get rolling here in just a little bit. Poets are drawing their numbers right now. We'll open with the sacrifice poet and everything, and they're going for those last four spots for the finals tonight at 7 o'clock. We'll talk to you in just a little bit.
How many of you have never been to a poetry slam before? Most of you are lying to me, and that makes me uncomfortable.
But for the ones who are not lying.
Slam poetry was invented in the 1980s by a dude named Mark Smith.
So what?
In 2001, Louder Than a Bomb was started by Kevin Coble and Anna West. And now it's here in not even just Omaha anymore. It's now Louder Than a Bomb Great Plains with 32 schools. We're like the third biggest youth poetry convention in the world.
It is literally everywhere.
And that's pretty great. So Mary Beth, what's going to happen tonight?
Oh my goodness, so much is going to happen tonight. Here's what's going to happen tonight in great detail. More detail than you've ever wanted. A bunch of poets, 8 poets, individual poets, are competing in 2 rounds for the glory and Pop-Tarts and bragging rights of winning Louder Than a Bomb individuals. The top 4 poets from this particular bout will go on to finals tonight at 7, also in this room. It's going to be great. But here's what's going to happen with the poems. All of these poems are going to be the poet's original work and should take up less than 3 minutes and 10 seconds of our time. If they start taking up more than that, we're going to start taking off points from that poet. Boo-hoo, you're wasting our time. Also, these poems aren't going to feature any props, costumes, musical accompaniments, chainsaw juggling badgers, or audience participation. Because this is just the poet. It's just the stage, just the page, just the poet. It's gonna be great! Woo!
In the interest of creating the most inclusive and safe space possible, we ask that poems do not contain profanity, sexual explicit language, or pornographic language, gratuitous violence, racial, ethnic, gender-biased, homophobic, religious, ableist, or otherwise discriminatory slurs, speech, or language. Ginger bias. Be quiet with your ginger bias. That said, some of our poets might issue a trigger warning before the poem and give you the opportunity to exit if they feel that the content could be potentially harmful to you, so be sure to listen to your poets. Tell them about judging, Mary Beth.
Oh my goodness, judging is important. All right, we have 5 judges. 5 judges that are going to rank from a 0 to a 10. Judges, will you please put up your whiteboards so we can see where you are? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hello, wonderful people. All right, audience, cheer for your judges, please. Lots of cheering. Judges, don't get used to this. Don't get used to it. All right, each poem is going to be scored by these 5 lovely people on a scale from 0 to 0, 0.0 to 10.0. We're going to drop the highest score and the lowest score, so the 3 middle scores are going to be the only scores we add up. A 0.0 feels like your dog, the person you love most in the world, calls you into the dining room for a talk and tells you, "I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed." A 10.0 is when your dog is in the passenger seat of your car with its head out the window and its tongue lolling in the wind, but somehow you are also the dog, and you're smiling and your hair is rolling in the wind and your tongue is lolling out, I guess. That's a 10. That's what a 10 feels like. So just judges, just for your reference. At the end of that, we will add the individual poets' scores together, and whoever has the 4 highest numbers will go on to finals at 7 tonight. Judges, remember to keep your scores consistent because that's important. Don't make them go up way, 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 way high towards the end of the bout. All right, so audience, here's when you come in. The judges are not the only people with the power. We also have power to the people. So what are you going to do when somebody reads a really spectacular poem that feels like chocolate in your brain and a judge gives it like a 4? Okay, good. So that's what disappointment sounds like. What are you going to do when the poem that feels like chocolate on your taste buds and on your brain gets a 10? Awesome. Great. Cool.
All right, before we get this thing started, we're just going to prevent anything before it happens. Pull out your cell phone right now.
Take them out.
Put it on the setting where it makes the least amount of noise possible.
Silent.
That's probably off.
Or silent, but
Cool.
mostly off.
All right, to get this thing started, judges are people too, so we're going to give them a practice round. And are Our sacrificial poet tonight is Chris from Norfolk.
All right, so we have our sacrificial poet coming to the stage. He's from Norfolk.
Hi, my name is
Here
Chris
we go.
Heiderman. I'm a junior at Norfolk Senior High School, and this is Melt the Ice. My hands are freezing. The icicles that hang from my cuticles pierce your skin as I move my hand to yours. And you start to bleed. I have hurt you, and every drop of your blood adds to the lake in my chest that is drowning my heart in sorrow. I'm sorry. Damn it, I am sorry. But you sit there and you console me as if you were the one in the wrong. You sit there, you hold me tight and tell me everything will be okay. But it's not okay. I don't want to see you in pain. I don't want to hurt you because all I am is a disappointment. Where there should be a man, there's a lack thereof. Because when I said I loved you, I meant it. And when you said it back, I was engorged by my own profound emotions. I guess those words were ones too unfamiliar. Because up until then, I had not even known the definition of the word. Not until I saw you. And that word made me feel warm. The ice began to melt. My smile lit up like springtime. My heart opened like a budding rose. I started to feel all the right feelings, and I went out of my way to find new ways to show you how much I loved you. In that venture, I discovered writing. You made me into a poet. But being a poet with severe anxiety and just being outright socially awkward, I never really got around to showing you or reading to you, and this is my biggest regret. Because maybe if I had read to you, maybe if I had shown you what I've written and told you how I felt, you wouldn't hate yourself so much. Maybe it would have given you the purpose you claim to lack. Maybe you would tell me you loved me just one last time. Maybe I could have saved you. And that is why I wrote this, as a promise to always be here, to always share, to keep writing, to be your life, to be your light, and to melt the ice.
All right, that is our sacrificial poet from Norfolk High School. Norfolk is a brand new school in this team. Vicky from Norfolk is in the finals. You saw her in the last bat if you joined us for that. Here come these scores. And again, these are just a practice round for the judges.
We have a 7.0. We have a 7.9. We have an 8.2. We have an 8.3. And we have an 8.4. Give it up for the poet Hudson scores. And our very first poet of the very, very last prelim round. Please welcome to the stage, Kyla from Lincoln North Star.
All right, so that's our sacrifice down. Kyla is coming to the stage from Lincoln North Star. She's a senior from one of our finalist teams this year. They came up a little bit short of it from Lincoln High, but showed up really well at our finals, and Kyla has been a long time anchor on that team. So here she is.
My name is Kyla Jolch, and I'm a senior at Lincoln North Star High School.
Speak poet!
And this is called Learning My Lesson. See, there's a word for people like me, and I think it's spectacular. See, that has to be it, because no other word shadows amongst the essence of wondrous and demanding at the same time. See, my whole life, everything around me has been silently screaming it to me, hoping to engrave it in the dents of my eardrums. You are spectacular. I'd listen, but never hear them. Too distant to make out a figure, but close enough to admire the tenseness and their vocal cords. I'd brush them off as if I knew something that they didn't. You are spectacular. I be reminded each and every day I am my body's own best friend. So with all my vitals here and functioning, they cycle together and creating magic that keeps me waking up every morning as if I have some important place to be, them probably knowing that I'm already at it. My blood cringes through my veins, announcing its favorite melody. You are spectacular. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Do you hear me? We need you. You are. And I'd always pause the song before it ever got the chance to say it twice. You are spectacular became a part of my daily routine. You see, my mother, who at 10 and a half was told that she'd never be able to have kids, and when she was 16, here I come, she cries to me. And I scream back wanting something in return, but the words, you are spectacular, never seem to fill my stomach. And though screaming never became a habit, I'll never forget the time I used it in a war. You see, as a mistake was continually made, I, in a private conversation as a first grader, screamed, I hate myself. And my teacher, tearing up, screams back at me, you are spectacular. And as a tear draws its way down her cheekbone, she says, I will teach you. I learned to spell it and define it, but never comprehend nor believe it. You are spectacular. I wrote it 100 times, tattooing the flesh of my notebook. And then she says to me, tell me why you are spectacular. And I still, to this day, cannot explain to you how intensely my head pounded, contracting, looking for the right arrangement of words that I can hand over to my teacher like some sort of gift, wrapped with a big bow of honesty. I wanted to mean it. And so with a voice loud enough to trickle its way down the hallways, projecting itself as if the whole world needed to be in on this, I think the most important person who needed to hear me was me. I screamed, I'm spectacular because I have people who love me. I'm spectacular because in the midst of all darkness, I will stand with my head held high, and I will look whoever I need to in the eye. So I could stand up here with a crowd of I don't know of how many and say it and mean it. I'm spectacular. Do you hear me? So if I wrote a book today, it'd be infinity in 1 page. The last page to remind you and anybody else who dares to listen, but most importantly myself, that I am spectacular.
All right, that is Kyla from Lincoln North Star, one of their leaders on their team, a senior this year. Yeah,
All
it's
right,
a great
judges,
poem.
here we go.
That's a poem from
In
last year. So
3, 2,
see what
1.
the scores come back.
From low to high, we have an 8.6, an 8.7, an 8.9, an 8.9, and a 9.0. Keep that applause going for our next poet, Kira.
So that's a 26.5 for Kyla from Lincoln North Star. Great score to start the bout. This is Kira from Omaha South.
My name is Kira, and I'm from Omaha South. Tick, tick, vroom. That sound comes from your moon. That smell of rusty cricket. Ew. I can't quite put my finger on it. From your slick feet up, my eyes are being cut on these sharp, jagged edges of your life. No one can simply glue, hammer, and tape together. The elegant curve of your face makes it easier to see the future in your eyes. You can't wait to let more blood drop onto your beloved guitar. You don't know who you are. I can feed on your neck, but I keep getting contusions. You resemble Starburst, an entire mixture of confusion. These clothes you wear make you transparent because you are just as empty as that bottle of wine you just bought 3 hours ago. No wonder no one knows. This crowded hallway is full of swift legs, but you strut that walk of infinite shame like someone's right-hand tool. Don't you realize there's somebody like you at another school? Tick, tick, vroom, why don't you go find your twin star? She can tell you who you are. Worry not about your vibe, for it has already been murdered. Your personality, an intriguing homicide, tick, tick, vroom, and driven away. No one knows who you are. Hidden behind your makeup, beating your guitar. This is why I stripped you of your innocence and tolerance. I know who you are. I ignited this fire. It's too late to put it out, but you say you don't want to find out? You say you thought you already knew who you were.
And that is Kira from Omaha South, coming up in our second poet of the bout. She was part of a really good South team, made it to semifinals, came close to finals.
3, 2, 1, put them up.
Here come the scores.
All right, from low to high, we have an 8.2. We have a 9. We have a 9. We have a 9.1. And we have a 9.1. All right, up next, give it up for Michaela.
It's a 27.1 for Kira from Omaha South. We have Michaela coming up from Omaha Northwest right now. See how it goes.
Hi. As I said, my name is Michaela. This poem is dedicated to my, I guess, stepmom, but it's about my birth mom. I'm 5. It's my first time at an airport, staring in as I watched the metal birds soar above me. We boarded the plane. Now, airplanes are supposed to bring us forward, but the one you put me on has kept me in the past for far too long. Now, every other mammal will kill at even the slightest notion of harm towards their young, but not you. You let him steal my light. Why? Who was this man? Scruffy beard that scratched me as he bent town. This man was not my father, not my teacher, and most definitely not my guardian. No, he was your boyfriend. A man you cheated on my father with, and you thought it all good and well to let him take me to the airplane bathroom. You traded my innocence for his love, and in the end, you lost them both. You let him stalk your cub and poach me for my precious fur. So easy to leave us behind, wasn't it? But you couldn't stop there. No, you had to bring him. He had to steal my light. But I will not give you the satisfaction of me becoming nothing. I will not let me fall. I will not let him win. I will stand, trudge on in the snow and ice, the water and gut, as they just try to suck my life from me just to finally defy you. When I win my Emmy, my Nobel Peace Prize, and my Oscar, I want you in the front row to see all you've missed out on. And you can tell your friends all you want that you love me and care for me, but truth be told, you haven't talked to me since I was 7. But I will not fall. I may be a melted candle with only a centimeter wick left, but that wick will last me until I find a new light. This desolate forest that I've trudged for too long, the trees that you have planted have ripped my clothes for the last time. Don't you think you snuffed out my light? A spark endures, my heart endures, and that spark will multiply. You may have stolen my light, but I will set this forest ablaze, burn all the lies and pain you've caused, to trap souls finally free. For I am a warrior, the heat and ash becoming body paint, showing my victory. As the fire roars behind me, I feel no pain. My armor covers my skin that you've tainted and let be tainted. For that does not define me. I am free, mother.
All right, that is Michaela from Omaha Northwest, I believe a new team to the competition this year. Great poet from a great team. Showed up big this year, won their first bout. Here come the scores.
From low to high, we have an 8.2, an 8.5, an 8.8, an 8.9, and a 9.0. Please welcome up to the stage our next poet, John Rack.
Tall game, so aggressive. Hi, I am John Ratz, and I am a poet and senior from Creighton Prep. And this poem is called Children of the Corn. I come from a land where the corn grows as thick as the hair in God's unshaven armpits. Please, do not be frightened by the alarming drop in civilization a mere 50 miles from the Missouri. If you give it a chance, it really is a beautiful place, full of untamed prairies and fields that will impart a sense of serenity, wonder, a love for this great land, and a deep certainty that this is exactly what a post-zombie apocalypse world will look like. But Nebraska is so much more than a desolate wasteland. Let me tell you of its beauty. One, it's flat. Flat here, flat there, flat over there, a little bit less flat up there, but don't worry, still pretty flat, and thank goodness for that. I mean, have you seen those freaking mountains? They've got what? Picturesque vistas, cleaner air, some majesty, but they're dangerous. I bet you've never heard of someone falling to their death off a prairie, right? 2, we are about the furthest you can get from a shoreline. This means I didn't get to grow up with long walks on the beach, afternoons of collecting seashells, or standing and contemplating my insignificance before the furious majesty of the ocean. But I'm not angry? Far from it. How I can be anything but thankful when we haven't had a hurricane, tsunami, or shark attack in a good 60 million years. 3, cornfields are all kinds of fun. In summer, when the stalks have grown tall, you can slip between a thick green curtain and get lost for hours, days, weeks, until you are stark, raving mad. This is, in fact, how we keep Nebraska strong. Every adult Cornhusker is the product of an ancient and violent annual ritual known as the husking, in which a new crop of youngsters is sent into the fields until only one emerges, covered in the blood of the weak. Go Big Red! 4, the weather can get a bit crazy. One day, it's so frigid you watch your fingers freeze all the way down to the bones, and the next, the heat intensifies until you can watch your skin melt off. We do our best to grin and bear it through horrific winters and hellish summers. As I like to say, there's no point in complaining about things you can't change, and you can't change the weather unless you offer a human sacrifice to the angry gods that control the sky. 5, Nebraska is the home of the good life, where neighbor looks out for neighbor. Our small towns are home to the friendliest folk you're likely to find across this entire nation. In fact, some towns are a little bit too friendly. Some advice to visitors. Should a crowd of locals form around your vehicle and approach with eyes darker than pits while chanting in some language you cannot identify, lock the doors, slam the gas, don't look back, and be sure to visit again soon.
That is John from Creighton Prep. He will be representing Omaha at the National Poetry Slam this year as part of the team. Great student, outgoing.
All right,
Let's
from
get
low to
some
high,
scores.
we have 7.9,
Come on!
a 9, a 9.1, a 9.2, and a 9.2. Up next, give it up for Brittany.
So that's a 27-3 for John Ratz.
That you do.
Here's Brittany from Avenue Scholars.
Hi, I'm Brittany MacArthur. Yeah, it's untitled. Trigger warning. Just saying. For all of you. Just saying. Okay. Today, I got the crap beat out of me for the 100th time. I was walking down the street when it burned me like an inverted cross, ricocheting off my skin and slithering into my ears, only hearing the pain of my people being cracked with whips. I feel them every time you say it. You beat me again and again, pummeling my body until I'm motionless. I tried to take these hands that have the weight of 2-ton boulders and wrap them around my head, bracing for the shock, trying to numb myself. See, you don't understand how effective this pain can be. At first, it's just physical, but it never stays bone deep. It reaches into my psyche and pulls at my heartstrings. Oh, the beating in my chest to the waves of misery. Beatings in my chest to the waves of misery, drifting to the past, seeing my people dragged from the motherland, shipped on a boat, shackled next to each other, 3 on a slab table, crying and praying, knowing that they will never see their loved ones or family again. Time has stopped. You stopped beating into my soul. You said it. Nigger. Like 1,000 jackknives stabbing into my flesh. I want to stab into your heart. See, you don't understand that word. It's the pain and hurt. You don't know what it's like to be considered intolerable, to be beaten down, generation after generation to be told that you're nothing. To be beat down to be beat down generation after generation. To be told you have no rights, that you're hearing that you're just an animal. No, you aren't even an animal. The dog next to you is bigger than you. I can't even say that you're the dirt underneath my boots because the dirt will be higher than you when we throw you into the ground. You're not worth a dime because the slave ship you were brought in on wasn't even worth a penny. You're nothing. That is what you tell me every time you say it. Thinking it's okay, trying to brush it off with so-called sarcasm. So every time you drop the N-bomb because you think that the official black card is a real thing. It shouldn't even be allowed to play on your lips. It should be obliterated from the dictionary. It shouldn't even be a real thing because it was born out of ignorance and injustice. When you say that word, you're washing away the waves of civil rights movements, death and decay. You don't see the segregation ride in on a dark horse with vigorous tenacity. You don't see it. You don't understand. You haven't experienced it as a culture, and it's not the foundation of your history. But if you do think that you are any of these things that you compare to the history that has been laid down before me, that is still happening to this day. If you think that you can pass the baton of racism down to your children, then say it. But when you say it, don't whisper it behind my back. Say it to my face.
All right, that was Brittany from Avenue Scholars. Powerful, dedicated performance there. Had a little trouble, but pushed through it.
You're getting really, really good at this because I know you're already ready.
So let's see how these scores come back, how they respond to the writing.
From low to high, we have a 7.5, an 8.4, an 8.9, a 9.0, and a 9.3. Up next, we have Matt Miner.
All right, so judges responded a little bit. So that's a 26.5 for Brittany from Avenue Scholars. Not out of it by any means. And here comes Matt from Omaha Scott.
Hi, my name is Matt Miner. I'm a junior from Scott Catholic, and this is There's No Room for Gray. I once cleaned my childhood bedroom, and amidst the piles of Game Boys and Shonen Jumps I found a Bible, and then another and another and another and another. In my room I had 5 Bibles, and they were all different sizes and colors and had different pictures and editions. And I never opened them. I used to cherish them. I read Matthew a lot because I wanted to understand how my namesake got into it. I read Jonah because I was waiting for Pinocchio to join him in the whale's mouth. But the Bible's all collected dust next to the copies of Harry Potter and Percy Jackson. Last year at my Catholic high school I was named Theology Student of the Year, and last year I identified myself as agnostic. As one girl so aptly put it, I just think it's so funny because you hate all religions. She didn't understand that I was in a theological purgatory. See, I am the middle child of the cosmos, and I sit on the rails of a theological train track listening to the warning bells of both sides, one preaching salvation, the other contemplation. My arms curl inward as I search for a stigmata that will never appear. I grasp for a rib that is no longer there, vainly searching for my own Eve to release me. The forbidden fruit is low-hanging. But it's freedom, it's logic, it's reason. With scientific studies, carbon dating, theoretical physics, Darwinism, all things I know to be true. I know how the universe works, but not why. And y is so much more than an axis adjacent to x. I can't find divine beauty in formulas. I long to look into the cosmos and its infinite colors and between the supernovas and black holes and to think there's something out there that cares enough, that loves enough, to build it all cell by cell, atom by atom, yet still finds time to lead my grandmother by the hand up to the pearly gates. I know this is beauty, but I can't see it and I can't feel it. I can feel concrete and I know plastic. I know how a hairless piece of flesh that proclaimed itself humanity decided to rise up and build skyscrapers and perfect themselves with medicines and plastics. They built me a mask that functioned as my lungs for the first 2 years of my life. And both called to me, claiming me. And the only thing that enrages them more than choosing the other is choosing neither, because we live in a universe of ultimatums. There is black and there is white, and in an infinitely expanding universe, it seems that there's no room for gray. I'm sorry that I am. I'll try to be omniscient by Mass on Sunday morning.
That is Matt from Omaha Scott Catholic High School. Showed up big in their bouts this year, and he's won a couple slams in town. He's won the Shelter Belt Battle Slam that I run. Very good.
All
See how
right,
the
for
scores come
those
back.
too high, we have an 8.5. We have an 8.9. We have an 8.9. We have a 9.3. Oh, we have a 9.2, and then we have a 9.3. Bad host. Bad host. All right, up next, we have Tay. Everybody ready for Tay? Yay!
All right, so that's a 27 even for Matt from Scott. 27 even for Matt from Scott. This is Shantavion from Omaha Benson.
Can you hear me? Yeah. Right. Okay. Hi, I'm Shantavion. I go to Omaha Benson, and this is my poem, Stranger to Kindness. Boiling. In the very pit of my stomach, my eyes blinded by black and devilish thoughts I try not to let escape, not easily tame like convicted felons. I breathe tension as miles plus my veins circulating into my heart, and ongoing pattern tells 100% evil. This is not your average everyday tantrum. Consider that it was at the age of 3, until my light skin turned fire red, burning as the tears spill out over my eyelids like lava out of volcanoes, far beyond my breaking point like drunks over the legal limit. Now a ticking time bomb. No longer the happy child that people loved and adored, I'm set to blow, throwing my knuckles into heavy metal and brick walls until the skin peels and dangles freely, exposing my flesh instead of it being concealed. Adding more swords to the collection of scars. I never wanted to treasure, now imprinted on me like tattoos and graffiti that can't be cleaned. Even if the nurse wipes the blood away, I'm not completely bruised free. A stranger to kindness, unfamiliar, only accustomed to people's coldness. Later my rage leak out, a lava seeps through the cracks, leaving everything charred, unable to be extinguished no matter how hard you plead or restrain me. Spilling over is too much to hold in like your breath in the water. Splashing insults on my face, the taunts burn like acid. On a path of destruction, there's no stopping me. Not easily tamed by these restraints, my whole body a pot of steam that needs to be released. Then I detonate. Like innocent criminals, I'm considered guilty. Focused only on my actions instead of how the whole situation played. Focusing only on my swollen knuckles that are now the new imprint, like a new grave in a cemetery. Like a time bomb I start to tick. 10, the fuse is burning slow as my temperature rises. 9, my heart is pumping filled with malice. All I see is red in my eyes, no tears shown. 8, my fists rip through the lockers like bullets through walls, reopening old wounds, freshly planted like a new garden. 7, I try to exhale, but the fuse doesn't stop, growing thinner and thinner, almost at its peak. 6, I can't be released. Bound to my rage like a hostage. In the beginning, it was my only form of expression. I'm now a pit owner, sure, at least waiting for the next fight. 5, I try to count to. Tired of being provoked. Wonder when they would take a hint and do like the song says and just beat it. 4, I'm nobody's rap dog. They could just toss around until I hit the floor, broke guitar damage while they move on to a new victim. 3, there is no stopping the fuse. As the final seconds ticks away, no ordinary time bomb. There is no reset or cutting wires unable to be disabled. 2, I disintegrate them all. My eyes burn through them like paper, watching them turn to ash. 1, your time is up. Too late to try to negotiate demands because everybody had a role to play. Steady scheming, banging the final straw that causes me to snap like dry branches. All this pain inflicted on them. Stop them when it's hurting. A prisoner trapped inside myself, bound by my wrists to chains. While on the outside I'm unleashed. This is me, enraged.
That is Tay from Omaha Benson. That was a piece where his other team members would join in on the countdown last time. It was pretty cool. Let's see what the scores come back as.
All right, judges, please reveal your scores. From low to high, we have a 7.9, an 8.5, an 8.6, an 8.7, and an 8.8. Now give it up for our last poet in the first round, Leah.
It's a 26.8 for Tay from Benson. This is Leah from Omaha West Side to close round one. Here we go.
Hi, my name is Leah Hagan. I'm from Westside High School, and this poem is formally called "This Poem's Not a Suicide Note." I spend my life in a constant state of drowning, of kicking, of screaming. It did not begin in the bathtub, but it may end there. Because every time I turn on the faucet, I feel the urge to finish it, to let the water run, until it floods the bathroom, leaving me shriveled underneath its power, body pruny, body lifeless. I was born to be the girl who stops the water, who stays solid under the pressure, but my lungs are filling up, and my heart is slowing down, down, down. I feel myself sinking, but the harder I try to get up, the more it hurts when I fall back down again. People keep insisting that there's a statute of limitations to my suffering, and I find myself believing them. But every time I reach the surface, the water gets deeper, and every time I think I've escaped her or him, they find a way to pull me back in again. I spend my life cleaning up the messes that others have left me with, from alcoholism to pedophilia to addiction to eviction. I'm clawing to the surface of the ocean I've grown accustomed to living in, and I don't know how much more I can take. But this poem is not a suicide note, because I am the girl who stops the water, the girl who kicks, who screams, who lets every gasp breath of fresh air sustain her for days, weeks, months, a lifetime, because here I have hope, but the other place is oblivion. Here I have huffs and puffs and the small breaths I force in every now and again, and there I have nothing. I am the girl who won't stop screaming, who will fight to get up every morning when every muscle in her body is begging her not to. It's my job to be the calm woman in a storm, because when my friends are weak, you depend on me to be strong. It's my job to stop the water. It's my job to keep breathing. It's my job to be the broken thing that keeps functioning. I am the cracked iPhone screen you can type on, the dingy laptop you've never brought to tech support, the car from the 60s that just keeps on trucking. I am the girl who stops the water, the girl who burns as bright as the sun. My skin is fire. I will cause evaporation, burn, until there's nothing left to drown in. And the air will be humid, and the water will stick to my skin, and someday the vapor will condense and it will rain again. But I am the girl who stops the water, and it is my job to do more than stay afloat.
That is Leah, one of my own students from Omaha West Side. So I shouldn't say too much, but I like her a lot, and I like that poem a lot. Let's get the numbers.
All right.
Who cares
From
about the
low
numbers?
to high, we have a 9.4. Oh, sorry. I'm going to do that again because I'm an idiot. From low to high, we have a 9.3. We have a 9.4. We have a 9.5. We have a 9.7. We have a 9.8. All right. Can I get the order, please? We're going to figure out who's going up first and who's going up consecutively. Oh yeah, what's happening at 7 tonight, you guys? This is great. Finals are happening at 7 tonight in this room, 7 o'clock. The top 4 people from each of these bouts from the 2 o'clock bout, from the 3:15 bout, and from this here 4:30 bout are all going up against each other in a Hunger Games battle of poetry till the death. No, just kidding. Just kidding. No one dies. No one dies. Someone just gets a trophy full of Pop-Tarts. It's really shiny. So that's exciting. We're going to figure out in this next round, based on scores, who is going up first. Oh yes, also we are on the internet. If you know someone who doesn't have their life right and is not here right now, please wave to their camera. That's the internet. And tell that person who doesn't have their life right to go to youtube.com/LTABOmaha. That's youtube.com/LTABOmaha. And they can find a live stream. Here's the order of what's going to happen in this next round.
All right, folks, we are entering our last round of the preliminaries. And in this order, we will hear from Leah, John, Kira, Matt, Kyla, Michaela, Tay, and Brittany. All right, are you ready to begin? Welcome back up to the stage, Leah.
Hi, everyone. Yeah, my name's still Leah. I'm still from Westside. And this is called Pope Francis. Dear Pope Francis, I've been dreaming about you. It's not because of some ideological conviction. In fact, I left behind the Catholic religion years ago, tucked inside my old pocket Bible, buried with knee socks, a school uniform, and a picture of one of your predecessors in a place of honor on my nightstand. I'm not looking for a return to the fold, because even if I wanted to, I can't ask not to go back and not be taught what I've learned. I just want to talk to you, to feel the power of someone's utter certainty, because I've lost my own, because I was absolutely atheist until I realized that I'm lying if I think I have any clue what's going on outside this world around us. I just know that I've decided that to live definitively is to live ignorantly, and there's no point to choose either side, just to hope I'm on the right one. And I've read what you say, and I know you say that's okay as long as you live well, and well, I want you to tell me that. In my dream, I would tell you this. Dear Pope Francis, I used to believe in God, and then I moved on to believing in myself just as powerfully. This voice could move mountains, these arms could level forests, this breath could tame seas, and oh boy, did I believe. But depression is a powerful thing, and it's been creeping up on me for years now, taking pieces of me with it, leaving them broken, bloodied, and buried with my old pocket Bible, knee sock school uniform, and the picture of one of your predecessors in a place of honor on my nightstand. They are there, but I am here, meek, but not blessed, gentle, not even in slumber. The Lord is not with me, nor can I believe he's with you, even when I desperately want to. Dear Pope Francis, it's hard to believe in a God that stumbles and shakes at the world's slightest shuffle, and that God, unfortunately, is me, dear Pope Francis. It's hard to believe in the power of your limitations, dear Pope Francis. It's hard to believe it all. Glory to the Father, and to the Son, and to the Holy Spirit. Glory to the stars, and to the science, and to the emptiness. Glory to the emptiness. Glory to the lost soul staring at her beaten body and wondering how she isn't dead already. Glory to all those who love the lost. Trust me, we need it.
All right, everybody, that was Leah starting off our first round. Judges, 3, 2, 1, numbers. All right, from low to high, we have an 8.8. We have an 8.9. We have a relatively apathetic audience. We have a 9.1. We have a 9.4. And we have a 9.5. Up next, give it up for John.
I see you too. Once again, I am John Ratz, and I am from Creighton Prep. I used to dream horribly, and what was nearly always a shade of nightmare. Nothing scared me more than my own mind. When I was young, I feared not the monsters beneath my bed, but the darkness that poured itself inside my head. I trusted that I had God above me and the wicked below me. What this meant, I did not know. Only that I suffered, and the gap between them and the sky seemed so far away. I learned that the cure for a terrified mind was to sleep with the Bible tucked beneath the pillow. I did not feel a saving grace radiating up from the good word through cloth and stuffing. All I felt was extremely uncomfortable. You try sleeping atop the sacred text of millennia-old faith and tell me how you feel in the morning. Regardless of how weird it was, this was how I slept for years, until I almost forgot that the sacred word of God, Jesus, and pals was stashed beneath my head, but I no longer sat up sweating in the night, and the screams of my subconscious faded to wisps on waking. Still, the night I finally decided to remove my heavenly headrest was the best sleep I have ever had. If my method sounds a little strange, it should. A stable person wouldn't sleep on a book. I have now managed my mind for longer than I suffered from either terrors or a talisman. Those years, and the closest I ever was to God because I slept next to him every night. I was the kind of kid who would go to church alone, run crying to confession at the mere mention of a breast, condemn homosexuals when I only knew the dictionary definition, and abhor abortion without a second thought. Years later, and some things have changed. I look upon my past as its own kind of nightmare until the world shocked me awake. You see, my parents sent me to a good Catholic high school to carry on the family tradition of faith. It took 2 years to turn me into a godless, pro-choice, equality advocate apostate, the kind of demon pundits declare apart the generation destined to cut out the pure Christian heart of our nation and devour it whole in some satanic ritual known as progress. Because when the religious insist that my sister, whose body and mind unravel at the seams, who falls to the ground and quakes with seizures the Bible would call demonic possession, a girl who once asked, tears streaming from the eyes that were going blind, why is God doing this to me? It's simply an extra test from some supreme being to make me more compassionate, because everything happens for a reason. It would be easier to punch them in the face, as if her life was a lesson. Instead, I drew out some essence of the trembling child of not long ago when I insist, if God exists, he will have to beg for my forgiveness.
All right, that is John Ratz. That was Leah before him. Leah scoring a 27.3 with her second round poem. John brings in a 27.3 with this poem. We'll see how the judges like that piece. Here come the scores. Not that we care. Scores are just numbers. Poems are life.
From low to high, we have an 8.8, a 9.0, a 9.0, a 9.1, and a 9.5. Up next, we have Kira.
My name's still Kira from Omaha South.
So,
This is called Heartbeat. This world no longer has its heartbeat. I walk down sidewalks not built of concrete because mankind has evolved and I'm not going to be discreet. We act of grown chimps whose experiments are incomplete. We speak words that create a picture of mistreat because our brains have gradually become obsolete. And I pick up the stack of paper to look for the receipt, but the only letters left on the keyboard are backspace and delete. Someone please tell me why when I hear those words, my heart tweaks. But it is not a heartbeat. Because a heartbeat triggers a pulse that means I'm alive. It is the strength that I no longer obtain that derives me from my heartbeat. It is the extravagance of our income that crushes souls when bills arrive. We can step on cracks that break our backs and muffle our skin like if after a swim meet. Girls, we shouldn't feel unpretty because our outsides aren't white meat. She was 12 years old. She shouldn't have been in that love seat alone, but no one had the heartbeat to take her out to trick or treat. Society wouldn't be cooked and eaten like stew meat, spit out and blackened by crow's feet. But we've all been putting together this puzzle of defeat, and the time will always be waiting unless we can all come together and form a heartbeat.
All right, that is Kira from Omaha South, coming up with another powerfully connected piece. Really interesting writing from her all year long, really.
Kira, judges. Let's get some
Let's
scores.
look at the scores. Not that we care.
Okay,
The
everybody,
scores
from
are just
low to
numbers.
high, we have an 8.6. We have an 8.8. We need reactions. We have a 9.0. We have a 9.1. And we have a 9.2. Up next, everybody give it up for Matt Miner.
That's a 26.9 for Kira, adding to her 27.1 for an even 54 total. And this is Matt Miner from Scott, looking to add his 27. Here we go.
Before I begin, trigger warning, suicide, self-harm. My name is Matt Miner. I'm a junior from Scott Catholic, and this is called Playing Suicide Hotline. One, I never thought the first time I asked out a girl would be over Facebook, or that it'd be preceded by your contemplation of suicide. Two, I was showing you a reason to keep going, but you were so eager to paint your forearm in shades of red, much darker than your sunset hair. If I was going to keep you here on Earth, I had to promise you the moon. Three, I never saw it as a chore, and I never thought badly of you for it, but seeing me fail and seeing you cry and seeing the cuts that had just begun to scar be open once more, and while you cut at your skin, I cut at my soul. I took onto my shoulders the lashes of self-hatred you sent out at yourself. You didn't know that you were maiming me. How many times did I just want to walk out and quit and leave you? But one question always came back to me: what's my happiness to your life? So I kept on playing Suicide Hotline. 4, I found myself looking just a little too long at the pills in the pantry. We were fighting a war, and I didn't know how deeply you wanted to be run through by reality. 5, you never asked. Not about my day, not how I felt, not why I was so taciturn. You were too concerned with what your ex-boyfriend Nate was up to, too busy boasting about how Aaron was just the sweetest guy and that he was taking you to a dance next week. You didn't ask why I'd become so skinny or why I now had bags under my eyes. You would have known that food now tasted like ash. And I could no longer bear to watch your corpse swing back and forth at the end of a rope in my nightmares. 6, I loved you. I promise I did. 7, I told you when I was a boy I wanted to have big white angel wings. I wanted to fly high and feel the sun on my back and the wind on my face, and I know that that's never going to happen. But I can get close. I can go for a nice stroll up to the rooftop of a 10-story building, hold my toes off the edge, stretch my arms straight out and jump, and if I close my eyes, maybe just for a second, I can fly. And baby, that rooftop is looking awfully appetizing right now. And do you remember what you said to me? I don't see why you think I should care, and the world stopped. We were circling the drain like the blood and water once circled yours, like I now wanted to circle mine. For 2 years I untied the noose from your neck and calmly watched as you fastened it to me. I have given these years to you. I cannot give you my life. In the same basement where I first told you that I loved you, it began, baby, we need to talk. And the suicide hotline cut out, and only the dial tone was left to console us.
All right, that is Matt Miner from Omaha Scott Catholic High. Powerful piece he's shared with us before, but
Judges, give me your digits, please. All right.
dude's got a crazy voice,
high.
right?
We have an 8.8. We have a 9. We have a 9.1. We have a 9.4. We have a 9.4. All right, everybody give it up for Kyla.
All right, so that's a 27.5 from Matt from Scott. This is Kyla Jolch from Lincoln North Star, up to try and make it into our final spots for our final bout tonight at 7 o'clock. Here we go.
My name is Kyla. I'm a senior. I already told you everything I know. This is called getting it right. My grandmother was raped as a child. My mother was raped as a child. I've never been touched. Now tell me how on earth I can go to my mom and be like, thank you. Thank you because at the end of the day, you kept me safe and that's pretty cool, I guess. No. You see, I would crawl for miles just to break down in front of her and remind her that I am the mirror image of all those tears that got the chance to puddle up. And then I would stand up and statch over my mama with a perfect posture, just a reminder that she then constructed a soldier. Someone please try me. I wear my armor with grace. My mother has always been graceful. I will take my ears, my mouth, for all those screams that were never heard, those screams that are no one's favorite song, fortunate enough to be found in no dictionary. Can you fathom the idea that no amount of soundproofing can diminish them than those screams that are filtered into spectacular poetry? Baby, hear me roar. He took pieces of her, pieces she thought she'd never get back, emptiness, she once said. But lo and behold, she multiplied. See, I know he echoes in her membrane. Yes, that is the past calling. Well, how loud do I have to sing the reminder that she still has a future? I am getting so buff from carrying these 100-pound bags under my eyes, representing all those sleepless nights. Yep, let somebody know I've been up on a mission. I want to be a warrior, stomping through the mud. My poor angel always felt so dirty. I need to prove to her that if you believe hard enough, someone will come and rescue you. I want her to take a mental snapshot of her standing there by herself, because I soon will be grabbing my 3 other siblings as we hold hands and circle around her, as if drawing up her halo. Just look how remarkable she is. She once held on the blankets, a comfort, and I understand that, but girl, all I see is a cape, and I am always down to be your sidekick. See, I won't say a word. I will just hold her for all the times that nobody would, but then I will go behind her back, and I will walk across elaborate stages in front of hundreds of people, and I will have them applauding, because something beautiful always comes out of darkness, and I will have them standing, maybe for the first time knowing why. I will have them lined up, waiting to see something hopeful, and I'm the lighthouse clearing up those fogged up visions. It doesn't get much brighter than this, so if you ever need anything, Ma, you call me, and you will always get an answer. See, I know we hurt her, made her question wrong from right. But if only she could see it through my eyes, just how many times she's gotten it right.
All right, that is Kyla from from Lincoln North Star. Pardon me, there is no such thing as Omaha North Star. Again, a senior from that school this year, turning in a great performance. Looking to follow up her 26.5.
From
Here come those scores.
We have an 8.9, a 9.1, a 9.2, another 9.2, and a 9.5. Up next, we have Michaela.
All right, so that is a 27.5 for Kyla from Lincoln North Star, giving her 54 total. Here's Michaela.
This poem is entitled Counting. To steal from the movie Mean Girls, I love math because it's the same in every language. And while it is tedious, it always has the right answer. So math is good, which in turn means counting is good. So any solution that involves counting must be good, right? My inner thoughts try to justify what I'm about to do as if it needed any more reasons. As I held the Midol bottle in my hand, I began to count. 1 disappointed family as they watched the leader crumble. 2 grades falling below average. 3 lectures on how I've changed. 4 hospital bills piled up because my sister's boyfriend beats her. 5 lies of I'm fine. Really. 6 seconds to decide if I really want to do this. 7 to realize it doesn't matter anymore. 8 fights with my boyfriend because I don't have time for him. 9 overwhelming moments of hopelessness. I stop. There's no more capsules of escape in the box. And the side informs me I'm not supposed to exceed 8 in a 24-hour period. I laugh. So much for directions. A horn honks, and I walk away. Away from the pain, away from that moment of fear-driven self-hate, and I think I've gotten away with it. I think I'll be fine. But reality is a destroyer of dreams. Then fear sets in, and I begin to count again. One foot won't follow the other as I fall to the floor. 2 sets of feet hurrying to see what that noise was. 3 siblings missing their sister as my eyesight fades. 4 cousins crying as they see me lying down. 5 hands shaking me awake, screaming. 6 pleas for help. 7 prayers to God for me to wake up. 8 reasons to never wake up again. 9 arms cradling me, holding me, as the world is lost to me. I wake up in the back seat of my aunt's van. I sit up, my head still spinning, ready to accept my reality. She looks at me. I had passed out. I was dehydrated. Yes, dehydrated. Must be. I had escaped with my life, and as much as I loved counting, I realized all I ever needed was one person to realize what had happened. One talk of how it's going to be okay. One place that is safe from this reality. One person to hold me and protect me from myself. One hope. My phone vibrates. A message from my mom. You all right, sweetie? Do I haunt her with the truth, breaking the already fragile bond of trust between us? Or do I hide another piece of me until I'm gone completely and never be able to trust myself? I'm fine, Mom. Really, I'm fine.
That is Michaela from Omaha Northwest. I think a new piece from her again. Great piece of personal writing.
Hey, everybody. All right, judges. 3, 2, 1. Put them up. Okay, from low to high, we have an 8.8. We have an 8.8. We have a 9. We have a 9. And we have a 9. All right, everybody, give it up for Tay.
All right, so that's a 26.8 for Michaela. And Tay is up now. Gives Michaela a running total of 53 points. This is Tay from Omaha Benson.
Okay. I am Shantavion, and this is a new poem that's not fully memorized. And this is titled Unspoken. I hate the way my voice sounds every time I speak into this microphone with it. How I imagined it in my head, thinking it's going to be different this time, or the next time, or the next time. Maybe never. But why not now? After being made fun of in the past, dude, you need to put some bass in your voice. Stop talking like that. Being asked, have you reached puberty yet? And it makes me wish my voice would change overnight to sound more like theirs. When I yelled, they could never take me seriously. And when I screamed, they're teasing, punching more than bee stings. You sound like a girl. I'm speechless. They will never listen to my pleas to be left alone. It was routine every day. Let's make this kid scream. It's funny. How is it funny to joke about others' disadvantages and misfortunes? It's a recipe for misery. They take it as enjoyment like a sitcom while I was on mute, then try to break me down to give me the squill. Then I would head home to watch Spoken Word while trying to digest these words that remain unsaid, my cries and my pleas. So I put them to page. Silence is the language I speak, translating through the simplest form of sign language, which is a simple nod, shake, or shrugging my shoulders. Say my breath for later instead of blowing smoke, going through one end and exit out the other. I'm sick of these tunnels, so though it gives me headaches when thoughts inflate like parachutes. But as Maya Angelou quoted, there is no greater agony than bearing an untold story inside of you. I can only explain through my knuckles. The feelings breached through the freshly peeled scars as exit wounds. No questions, no comments, no closed mouths don't get fed. I'm already fed up. I still notice no change. They keep coming at me. Just get out of my face. Just run along now and I'll go on home, barricading myself behind my bedroom door. So sick of the self-hurt, so irritated with the teasing. Get your fingers out of my face. And so tired of feeling so asphyxiated by the silence. We all have it saved, but back then I didn't believe that. As I continue to pulverize my notebook, releasing inferior burns, the words in prison until forgotten like distant memories, I've been told to just let them live. It is time to make changes on my own terms. Though I still suffer relapses like soldiers with post-traumatic stress, but still try to cultivate confidence as I slowly transform from an athlete to a poet. No longer a stranger to kindness because the slam you all gave it and inspired me when I watch every clip. If I could, I would grip time and move it backwards so these moments will be everlasting. Caressed by the snaps, deep breaths, big words, deep breaths, Big words, deep breaths, big words. Let the story speak for itself. Let the words breathe and live before they can't. Because back then I've attempted too many suicides on my language. I thought thoughts never existed until now. As I stand here not afraid, singing for the moment and feeling spectacular, having you all to thank for reminding me I can be assertive without the bass boost. Thank you for reminding me I had a voice all this time. Just didn't know how to use it.
That was Tay from Omaha Benson, a first-year team this year. He's been showing up big in a lot of this team's bouts. Really great rider, really great performer. Love to see it. Let's see those scores.
From low to high, we have a 7.5, an 8.9, an 8.9, an 8.9, and an 8.9. Get up for the final poet in our final round, Brittany.
All right, so that's a 26.8 for Tay, giving him a running total of 52.6. Here's Brittany to close the bout.
Hi, I'm Brittany MacArthur, and this poem is titled Her Face. I see her face in the prepubescent girl on her way to getting her first period, convinced that the blood flowing from her body is a sign from God saying, your time is up. I see her face in the pregnant 14-year-old, convinced by her 18-year-old boyfriend that sex was the only love that she would receive from anyone. I see her face in the clinics. Women afraid to discover the STDs invading their bodies or about to let go of the very life they've created because they've been told it's the only way. I see her face in every girl, lady, or woman uneducated about sex because of someone else's perception. Have you seen her face? Contorted with confusion, not knowing what is right because your parents say, be pure, just wait, pounding it into you with the gavel of abstinence, not explaining why or answering the questions. Then media comes in. MTV saying, sex is amazing, be dangerous and dirty, society is stupid, use a condom. What? Society and media, the condemnation of her common sense now. What can she do? The real question should be, what can we do when we see her in that young girl's face? We need to teach her that she's just blossoming into the beautiful woman she was meant to be. We need to show that pregnant 14-year-old what real love is, that it's not sex, but an unconditional, incomprehensible emotion that will wrap you up like the love she's about to experience for her child. When we see her painted upon the faces of the women in the clinics, we need to let them know it's okay, regardless the outcome. Why are we teaching our girls, our ladies, our women, instead of trapping them in a diluted world of I don't knows and I'll learn from the television? Because I want to know how to help her, how to teach her, how to mold her. So when I look in the mirror and see her face, I'll know that she's just a piece of me.
That's Brittany from Avenue Scholars, by way of Omaha Northwest as well. So we get those final scores for our final poem of the bout.
Give me numbers, please. From a low to high, we have a 9.0. We have a 9.1. We have a 9.1. We have a 9.3. And we have a 9.4. All right. And now we're going to figure out our top four. And then we're going to figure out our finals participants. Just give me a second. Just a reminder that finals are at 7 p.m. in this room. It's going to be great. It's going to have the top four from the 2 p.m. bout, top four from the 3:15 bout, top four from this bout, which we're going to find out in probably 30 seconds. It's going to be great. Raise your hand if you had a really good time today. But everyone's hand should be up.
Right.
Thank you.
So that's a
Good.
27.5
Yes.
for Brittany,
Question.
which will give her a 53 running total,
Let's
tying
figure
her with
this out.
her Patriot from Omaha Northwest.
What's this? It's a dead version of this. That's all. Sorry.
Wow. Yay. Okay. I have results.
Yeah, you do.
All right, we actually have a tie for 4th place. So proceeding to finals, we have John Ratz, Kira, Kyla, Leah, and Matt. And they will be joining Haley, Maribel, Bianca, Kaylin, Niara, Charlie, Vicky, and Amanda tonight at 7 o'clock, right here, for the Quest for the Pop-Tarts.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah, we've got until like 6. Yeah. All right, folks. So we've got you're going to be hearing in the final bout starting. We'll put that live stream up at 7 o'clock. You'll be hearing from Haley, Maribel, Bianca, and Kayla, Niara, Charlie, Vicky, and Amanda, and 5 students from this last bout: Leah, John, Kira, Matt, and Kyla. Since Kira and Kyla tied with the 54 even. So we'll have 13 students in that final bout coming up in about an hour, about 54 minutes. So I'm going to shut down the live stream. You can donate to support the work at ltabomaha.org or ltabgreatplains.org. Share the link, youtube.com/ltabomaha. I want to get a lot of people watching these finals. So we'll be kicking off in about 50 minutes. So we'll see you then. Bye-bye.